Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Gamertag Radio.
Welcome to Gamertag Radio. This is your host, Danny Peña, and co-host of the show, we have Parris Lilly. What's up, Parris?
What's going on, man?
Good, man. Been sleeping late the past couple of days, man. Playing all these games that we've been reviewing for the past couple of days, man. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. But I've been having a blast with Avowed. Can't wait for us to talk about it, man. So I know I'm going to Dice. You're not going to Dice. But you're probably gonna be playing these games too. For us to talk about in the future here, man. So we're going to be previewing South of Midnight. I know you got a chance to play it. Is this the same demo that you got to see when you went to the studio? I was going to ask you that question.
Yes, but it was hands off. So now obviously hands on. And technically, I think people will already have heard the South of Midnight preview.
Yes.
By the time they see this, so it'll already be out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, I guess we mentioned in the previous chapter 3. And that was like a good 50-something minutes or so that took me to finish that level. It was a lot of fun, man. I had a blast, man. So make sure to check out that episode. Anything else, Parris? Anything else before we start a conversation on Avowed?
Yeah, I just want to give everybody FYI. I have literally been sick since December, and I got better, then I got worse, and then I got even more worse. So I'm not going to Dice. As people are watching, listening to this, if you're watching video, I probably look like crap. I've just they got me on all kind of steroids and antibiotics at this point to try to get better. But I mean, I don't want to risk getting anyone else sick or do anything like that. So it's just best that I stay home. But it's just been a busy couple weeks, previewing and reviewing these games. And obviously we're going to jump into talking about Avowed now. But I mean, it's, good time for games. I will say, regardless, what you might think of this review, we're going to talk about Avowed. There are so many games that are about to come out right now. It's just a great time. Really exciting time.
Yeah. And it feels like holiday season with all these games coming out at the same time is really good. It reminds me of was it like 2 years ago? There was so many good games that came out at the same time.
And there's even more coming. Like, this is just the tip of the iceberg. 2025 is going to be a great year for gaming, man. It really is. Yeah.
Before we go with Avowed, have you actually played Outer Worlds?
Yeah. Remember we originally went to that preview event.
Yes,
I went and I saw it a second time at Gamescom that year in 2019. Yeah, I love the Outer Worlds, which I think plays into what we're about to talk about right now.
Yeah, the reason I'm bringing that up is because I love the Outer Worlds. I just love Obsidian. Like, when people always ask me, my favorite studios, third-party studios besides, first party at that time when the Outer Worlds was coming out, I always mention Remedy and Obsidian every single time because I just love their games. I love the way how they make those games. And for this particularly, what we're going to be talking about Avowed, it reminded me a little bit of the Outer Worlds, minus us going to different planets, with this one. And I was having this conversation with Ree. Like, Obsidian, I like their games because if you focus on just story, it's like a good 24 hours, just story, similar to the Outer Worlds. Now, if you go all in and start playing like side quests, it's going to take a while. Now, this game, I find it challenging than the Outer Worlds, way more than the Outer Worlds. It took me a while, and the thing is, there was some certain levels that I felt like I was rushing so fast because I just wanted to go to the next one. But I feel like if you take your time, start fighting, enemies when you're walking in the world, or you start doing side quests and you level up your character and you're also your companions and you fix your weapons and everything, your armor, it will get a little bit easier. But man, if you just go straight in, it can get a little bit complicated, man. I don't know if it was like that for you, Parris, but it took me a while in certain areas. Really, really tough, man. So how was your experience with playing Avowed? Did you focus on the story, did some side quests, or what?
I want to take this back before we jump into the actual details of Avowed, of the game. So I have been on record for the past few years that Obsidian it ultimately is going to wind up being the most important acquisition that Xbox has done as far as the studio goes. And this is it. This is exactly what I'm talking about. When we go back to 2020, when the original reveal of Avowed, I was excited because I've always wanted to see what can Obsidian do when they're fully funded. Like, they got the backing of a Microsoft, of an Xbox. They got all the funding, the resources, everything that they need to make the game that they want to make. Now, you go back to 2020, what Avowed ultimately became isn't exactly what we saw in 2020. We all know that. We've obviously interviewed Kerry Patel. We've talked to, people at Obsidian. We know that it did change at some point in production, but I love this game. I absolutely love this game. This is what I wanted Obsidian to do. I wanted them to make a nerdy ass RPG. And that's what this is. I said to you privately and some other people as we're going through this review process, to me, this is Oblivion 2.0. That's 100%. What this is. This is what this reminds me of. And I love it. And to your point about the combat and the difficulty, not easy. I remember I messaged you at one point. I was like, oh man, at one boss, I had to pull the difficulty back, so I could get past it, so I could keep going. But the reason I bring that up is I had to learn early on how to manage my companions, how to level up certain items and, the different combinations of weapons and things that you would use. You'd have to understand enemy weak points, things like that. You got to play it a lot more strategically than you think. If you try to just run and gun through this, you will eventually hit a brick wall and you will get frustrated by it and you're going to have to slow down. So it's interesting that you said that you kind of rushed through some parts, but you obviously explained like, hey, you slow down, all that is fine. I don't know, probably about 45 hours, I would say, playing this, because I did take my time. I was listening to all the conversations. Like I said early on, when I kind of ran into that brick wall and I had to lower the difficulty once to get past the point, that's when I was like, you know what? I want to play this at a higher difficulty. So clearly I need to slow play this. I need to explore more in the world. I need to get more resources. I need to find better weapons, right? I need to upgrade my companions, things like that. And I truly embraced the RPG aspects of what Avowed is. Again, didn't try and run and gun it. Truly, like, all right, I need this companion for this scenario. Okay, I got these enemy types. Let me strategically, I'm going to put Kai over here and I'm going to put Giada over there. And then I'm going to use her healing ability, on Kai and myself. And then Kai with his more range using pistols and his special abilities, I'm going to use that on this type of enemy. All right, I'm going to switch. Like my favorite combination turned out to be, I would use the Grimoire, which is the spell books. And the various elemental, ice, fire, lightning, stuff like that. And then I had a specialized pistol that had like a shock on it. That was kind of my go-to that I would use. And I was upgrading those obviously along the way. And then my secondary was the traditional sword and shield, right? And then I was using different types of swords as I would upgrade. And then I kind of found one that I really vibed with. I think it was the Emperor's, I'm blanking on it, but it was one of being the Emperor's sword. And then I upgraded it all the way up to legendary by the end. Right. And I just love the perks that it had on there. I went through a couple different shields, stuff like that. But the point I'm making on that is you get to play this combat how you want. You want to be a straight mage or wizard with the wand and the Grimoire, and you can find the different spells so that you don't even need the Grimoire anymore and you're activating them on your own. You can do that. If you want to just be the classic knight, heavy armor with your big two-handed long sword or axe or whatever, you can do that. I love the variety of enemy types that you get in here because, bro, some of them, they ain't playing. They're not playing in this. There's... Again, because we don't want to get later into the game because we won't spoil anything, but there's a certain part when you're in Emerald. I'm blanking on the name, but the Emerald region of the world, right? Mm-hmm. Is where you first meet Yatsli, who is your wizard companion. It's where you meet her. Mm-hmm. There's a side quest where you have to go to like all these grave sites. I don't know if you did that side quest or not, but there's a side quest where you go to all these different grave sites, right? And then there's one, I think it's like the last one to where you can complete the side mission. Bro, there was specters and skeletons, and I mean they were just coming in waves after waves.
Not stop.
It was kicking my ass.
Oh,
and again, this is where I had to slow down, properly use my companions the right way, utilize their different abilities. All right, what kind of weapon sets do I need? Like, bro, it was, to me, that's when it clicked for me 100%. I go, I freaking love this game. I love this game. I love what Avowed is doing. And I know we're kind of just diving right into it, but I am brand new to this Pillars universe, right? Pillar, you know, the whole, the living lands, all that. So I'm reading the lore as we go along, because you can find all these different books that kind of explain the living lands and the regions and the people of it and the conflicts and the enemies. So I'm learning as we go along at the same time. So that was great for me. This is like a whole brand new world to me, because bro, I truly will have to play this a second time, and I'm definitely going to play it a different way than I played it this time, because there's still so much there that I just don't know. And we're obviously playing this for review. I know there's things that I missed that I want to go back and explore and collect, and, you know, different weapons. Because again, you'll do the main story. There's side missions that you can get. There's bounties that you can get. And then there's stuff that isn't going to just show up on the map. You just got to find it on your own. Right. Mm-hmm. And some of the best gear and weapons that I got was that way, where it wasn't just an icon on the screen and I just go there and I find it. No, you find stuff on your own. I love some of the actual puzzle elements that were in there, and there were like environmental puzzle elements where you didn't necessarily, like, man, how the hell do I get up there? Like, I know something's up there. How do I get up there? And then you figure it out and you get up there. Did you do the one side mission? And this, it was this old soldier that was dying. And like his nephew winds up recruiting you, and you wind up talking to the old soldier. He's dying, and he wants you to go on the side mission. I won't spoil it, but to go collect something. And then he tells you, I have a lot of traps where this thing is that I set up.
Oh, yes. I've done that one.
That one was good too.
I really
love that.
That one was a little pain.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. If you try and run and gun that, and you're not leveled up to deal with the enemies and the environmental traps that are in there, it'll get you. And then there's another one where there's the tower, and first of all, you got to figure out how to get up to the top of the tower. But even along the way, there's all these environmental traps that are trying to stop you from getting to the top of the tower. I love that.
That part took me a while, because towards the end, one of the traps pushed me out, and I was always falling. I'm like, God, that took me forever. But here's the thing, and you're right, Parris. Like, it's you will unlock more side quests depending on the people you talk to, the thing that you say, and also with your companions. You could also start having conversation with them. It's similar to like Outer Worlds.
Companion missions. Yeah,
you have companion missions, but the more you talk to them, the more you get to know them, and you will unlock other stuff that's part of their missions and stuff. So like with the Outer Worlds, I was doing that a lot because I wanted to just unlock more content, you know. But even if you're in the town, walking around in different towns, you will find areas where someone might be standing and be like, hey, you, come over here, man. And sometimes it is important to wear some headset or something, and sometimes I miss it because there's a lot of people just talking around the area. But sometimes you will bump into someone that will tell you about side quests, and it will help you out to level up your characters. Now, for me, I'm more of a knight, because I know Ree and you probably love to use magic. I do that but like on the side, like I'll add that part of my character later, not like with certain characters where you start from scratch like that, you know. So like I started in the beginning with sword and shield, and I was like, man, this is good because I could defend myself, but let me change it up. So I found a bigger sword, so I was using both of my hands, and I would just block with the sword instead of with the shield later on, you know. So you started like that. You said you started with
no,
the sword and shield.
I actually didn't use a lot of two-handed weapons. I preferred the one-handed sword with or like a mace or a spear or something like that, along with the shield. And now you could obviously using the shield to block, but you can also use the shield depending on what you get, and as you upgrade it, depending on the perks, you can use it offensively as well, right? Because part of it is, when you come down to your skill tree, I love the customization that you can do with the characters. Let me pin that for a second. So you're the envoy. You're a godlike in this world, right? And obviously you can customize your character, the looks, all that. Mine, by the way, looks absolutely horrible. So I'll have to put a picture online. I made it and I'm like, I like this. But I was like, all right, whatever. I'm just going to roll with it. It doesn't matter. But you're this godlike. People recognize you in the world as a godlike. That goes into the dialogue selections that you'll have, things like that. But going back to the skill tree. So again, you get to customize everything. So to your point, like you played more as a knight. So you have like your fighter tree, which again is more melee combat, close combat, swords, spears, axes, hand to hand, because you can fight like that. So you can spec into different abilities in your fighter tree. Your range tree is bow and arrow. I'm using guns, stuff like that. You can spec into different things because obviously you're fighting more from a distance that way. Your wizard tree, obviously self-explanatory, where you're a wizard, you can unlock spells and things and upgrade spells as you level up, and you don't need the grimoire. So I was kind of like, say I'm sword and shielding, I would have certain spells that I could just cast without having the grimoire. But then I had my grimoire that you can upgrade the grimoire as well. You can get more advanced spells than that I'm doing more advanced magic attacks with the grimoire, right? Mm-hmm. You can get a wand. You can upgrade your wand, and you can have more blasts and all that. All this stuff costs you stamina, as well as the essence, because essence is what's going to power all your magic stuff. But then like the last tree is your godlike tree, which certain godlike abilities will unlock as you progress through the story. Other ones you have to discover in the world. I don't know if you did that or not, but you have those branches, and that'll give you some passive abilities, give you some actual attack abilities, healing abilities, things like that. Bro, like I said, this is such a nerdy ass RPG. I love that how I play can be vastly different than the way that you play. And the conversations that we'll have over the weeks and months as people start to play and understand how to do the combat, how to, again, utilize your companions, right? As a healer, as a wizard, range attacks. Like Parris is your hunter and tracker. So he has an ability where you can use one of his to kind of discover hidden items in the world, things like that, right? He has a great combat ability, the root ability, especially if you upgrade it to its max, where it'll hold an enemy or group of enemies in place, right? Because it literally roots them. And then he has like a bleeding effect as well. So you can activate that while you're fighting someone else. He can root a bunch of enemies and he's actively damaging them or holding them into place. I could throw a spell on them, like a fire attack, freeze, lightning, whatever. Again, there's so many different ways you could do it, but you have to think, how are you going to approach each encounter? Because, there's different ways that you can do it to be effective. So again, bro, I just freaking love it. Love it. Yeah. Absolutely love it.
It's a lot. And actually I was going to mention this too, because I was like, oh, I can't wait to play the area that we played the game for the first time. I think it was at the Xbox Gamescom here in New York. Mm-hmm. I mean, in New York and Los Angeles. And I never found that mission. So that was a side mission. I never found that mission.
Oh man, that was when I got the sword from him, the flaming sword. Is that mission?
Yeah, I never played that level.
This is exactly what I'm talking about.
So man. I'm gonna replay it. Wow. But see, so when I play the demo for the first time, I did the same thing. I used long shield, two-handed sword. And then when I replayed it again, I was more of a mage. So I was doing, and it plays different. Like you said, it plays very different. So probably the second time I'm going to do that. Now, I do have to mention, when you finish the game and you try to go back and press continue, it will save at the area that you're like the last part of the mission. Of that level. I think this is a very important part where don't rush the game. Take your time if you really want to if you really want to explore and do as many missions and side quests as possible, and also companion missions, because once you finish the game, you're already finished. It's similar. It's exactly like the Outer Worlds, where, look, you go forward. This is it. You can't go back. So I think it is important to do that, man. Not to
my
rush.
Advice.
Yeah,
100%. My advice to anyone: don't play this game like we just played it during review. I will advise anyone that this is. You could easily put 60 plus hours into this if you play it the right way. And I shouldn't say the right way. Obviously, play it the way that you want. But to your point, play it slow, play it, explore, discover stuff. Don't feel like you need to rush to the end of the story and resolve everything at once. Max out all your characters, max out all your ability, level up, everything. Try and find different weapon combinations. Find something that's fun for you. Because that's the other part of this is they encourage you to respec. They encourage you to try out different things because the cost, the money penalty to respec any of your abilities, your companions' abilities, any of that is pretty reasonable. It's pretty low. I mean, it's not like every 5 minutes I'm doing it, but hey, kind of like that. Because I did this probably about 5 or 6 times while I was playing. I was like, you know what? Let me respec my abilities because like you'll have your character, like you have like intelligence, you'll have the stamina, prosperity, obviously your health, you know, your damage abilities, and you can spec points into that, right? I was fumbling with all that stuff constantly, trying to figure out what I like the best on that. And then obviously again with the companions, you know, as you're starting to level up their points, you can do that as well. So play around with that stuff, man. But I do want to go back to what you just said. It's so funny that you didn't find the mission that we did at Gamescom LA.
I didn't
because it again, I won't spoil anything, but it is a side mission that you have to do to get it. And there is something that you do in it that, depending on the decision that you make, will come back at the end.
Yes.
I'm just letting you know that now. It will come back at the end. So I will be fascinated to see how many people find it, how many people don't. Hell, what didn't I find in the game?
Yeah, there's probably stuff that I found.
Wonder.
Yeah, there's stuff that I found that you probably didn't. But I'm gonna I'm gonna replay it because I want to like take my time and you know I just want to like do as many side quests as possible and also companion quests.
I'm like I said, I want to play again. I just want to do everything. I want to do everything. One other thing that we have not touched on yet is the artwork in this game. My God, the different biomes in here. It's so pretty, and just some of it is just so colorful. I freaking love it. I freaking love it. And again, we're not going to spoil later stuff in the game, but you will reach a point in the game where stuff gets real. Okay. And from that point on, my God, just the level design, the artwork, the combat, everything that they're in here, the music that is in here is so good. I'm telling y'all, this is a classic old school RPG. I freaking love it. I love it. I mean, is it 100% perfect? Nothing is perfect. I mean, technical wise, and I know we're playing early. I saw a couple glitches here or there, but what Obsidian is doing in Unreal 5 is fantastic from a visual standpoint, right? Like I said, the combat can get super nerdy if you want to. There's different difficulty levels. There's the story mode, there's easy, there's normal. I want to say hard, and then I'm blanking on the name, but essentially there's like an insane mode at the end. When I go back the second time and play, I'm probably going to start on hard, and then I'm going to see if I can go up to insane. I'm going to mess around with that. But
it's a warning of that.
Replayability, to your point about the point of no return, is the replayability is coming back as creating a new character, do something different. Do it completely different than the way that you did before. Play as a wizard, play as a ranger, play as a knight, whatever, a combination of all of those that you can do. Make different decisions, because there's even like achievements you can get for how many times you lie to somebody, or you can get an achievement for how many times you just come into a conversation and you don't want to hear nothing. You just want to attack them, right? Stuff like that. Again, play around with it. And clearly the decisions you make will affect opening up opportunities, side missions, other things that you'll be able to do. So I'm definitely looking forward, to trying that out as well. But Avowed's great. Avowed, in my opinion, this is the first game of the year contender for 2025.
I have to agree with you 100%. And I have to say this too. This remind me when Oblivion came out for the Xbox 360. Like that vibe, like, wow, everybody's gonna have a great time. Everybody's gonna have different experiences. Just the moment, I'm like, damn, that was a really cool moment when Oblivion came out for the Xbox 360. This game reminds me of that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. 100%.
Old school and everything. Like,
yeah.
So,
yeah. Again, Obsidian got in their bag. They got in their bag. They did their thing. I mean, congrats to Carrie Patel and her entire team that worked on this. Because again, we know some of the struggles they had early on with development, but they clearly figured out the right scenario. This Pillars of Eternity universe, the Living Lands. Like I said, this is my entry point into it. I've already heard there's other games and things that you want to check out, in this universe, but I love it. I love this world. I love the characters. I love what Avowed is doing here. And I think a lot of people are going to resonate with this. And again, classic RPG is what Obsidian do. This is an Obsidian ass RPG and they're nailing it. If, like you brought it up already, if you like the Outer Worlds, you're going to freaking love Avowed. Period, point blank. And, to start off the year this way with such a high quality RPG, it's fantastic. Take your time. That is my advice I will give to anyone that picks up this game. Take your time. This is not a race to the finish line. Because honestly, I don't know how long it took you. I would imagine if you just ran through the main story, you're probably doing this, like 20 hours?
It's 20 hours. Yeah. For me, it was like 28, 27, 28 around there. Like I know it was not 30, but it was like really close to 30 hours for me. But I was doing a lot of the main missions. I will do side quests and companion missions here and there, So now I do have to bring this up, Parris, because one thing that I played 80% of it. I played on PC, and I also tested out on the Xbox Series S. Now you could definitely tell the difference when you play the Xbox Series S, but again, even if you just have that and you don't have a PC or don't care about frames or anything like that, like it was still good. Like I still played it, had a great time. It was easy for me to play on a PC, save, go to another device and continue my story. It doesn't matter. Like it was great. A great experience for me, man. So was it for you the same? Do you also test it out on the Xbox Series X or just S or PC?
So for me, I did not play on the S. I played, I don't even know the percentage at this point, but I played more on PC, but I did play on Series X, and I played it in the quality mode, which allowed you, because I have a 120 hertz TV, so I basically played at 40 frames. So I guess let's just talk about that real quick. So sure. I know Carrie Patel already confirmed that, yes, there is a 60 frames per second mode. On Series X. There's also the quality mode, which is 40 frames if you have for VRR, if you have 120 hertz television, and then obviously the standard 30 frames per second mode. But the quality mode gives you all the visual fidelity of the 30 frames per second, along with a higher frame rate, because you lose some of that when you play at 60. But game looked great on Series X. I thought it looked fantastic. I had no issues playing it again at the quality mode at 40. Even on 60, it looks good enough. Like I said, I played most of it on PC, and the reason, here's why actually, because again, with Play Anywhere, I had a Steam version of the game. So you can basically link your Xbox cloud saves into Steam. So I was going from Steam back to console, back and forth. And then at a certain point, the last few days, it wouldn't let me go back to Xbox. It was down. Like it wasn't transferring the save back. So I just stuck playing it on PC, but I did last night. It was working again. So I could go back to Xbox. So I played a little bit on Xbox again last night. Cause even me and Greg Miller were texting back and forth about that with it not working. But, I mean, from a technical standpoint, as far as that goes, like I said, looks great on console. I didn't test it on S. Sounds like you did. Sounds like it held up. Now on S, it was 30 and 40.
30
right?
and 40. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing. Like, it reminded me of, playing, like, let's say I play on the PC and then I go on the Steam Deck. You can tell the quality, but it's nothing like, oh my God, it's ruined. Like it was still good. Rihanna played almost 100% just on the S. She didn't even bother with the PC version, and she loved the game. Loved the game. Actually, I'm going to be playing her audio in a few minutes here, but she's been having a great experience, and that's the point that I want to say is I remember before the game coming out, a lot of people were going back and forth with, oh, is it 30? Is it 60? Like, you know, and I remember Obsidian was kind of like, we don't know yet. We're still working on it. It was still early. You know, it was like still early last year, you know. And that's why it's important to give the developer and the studio their time. You know, and when you play these games, sometimes when you're playing on 30, you still will have a good time. Like, at the end of the day, it's about the experience. It's not about the frames. You get what I'm saying? So, like, I'm happy that it's available, putting it in 30, 40, or even 60 for consoles version. But, you know, for the PC, I went all out. I put everything ultra, you know. Now, the only difference is it's not ultra widescreen, but still, it was like ultra. It was like an ultra widescreen, right? But not like the way I would have it set it up. I think it's like 22 something by you already know the smaller version of Ultra, but it's still great. It still looks great. Like, I had a great time playing it overall like that, man, you know. And I'm glad I played on the Xbox version, Parris. So I'm glad when you play the Steam version with Xbox Anywhere, you could definitely, you know, go to another device, console, and you can still continue on the go. Like, I think that's really, really good, man. Really good. Because I was worried. I was like, man, I was thinking about it. Man, if I would have played the Steam version, am I stuck there? So I decided to go on the Xbox.
Bring it all over to Xbox.
Yep, that's really, 100%. Really good, man.
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
All right, we're going to take a short break here at Gamertag Radio, but first, let's talk about our sponsor. That's Turtle Beach. All right, so in this episode, we talked about Avowed, and I experienced Avowed playing it using my Turtle Beach headset. Again, winter has arrived, but don't panic. It's not a bad thing. It's an excuse to cancel all your plans and slap on your Turtle Beach headset and game until the sun finally decides to come back. For a marathon winter gaming session, you're going to want the world's most comfortable headset with superhuman hearing technology. Turtle Beach's new Gen 3 Stealth 700 headset picks up so much more crystal clear sound. It's basically cheating. Like, we'll play. Like, I know right now we're talking about Avowed in this episode of GTR. I was wearing it and I was hearing all kinds of stuff. The music is amazing. I can hear the enemies. I can hear also my companion while I have a great conversation with them. It just feels amazing. And plus, the headset is very, very comfortable. Even if the snowblower is going off outside of your house, you will hear every single thing, the footsteps, the reload, every enemy sneaking up on you, and much, much more. Turtle Beach headset are so comfortable, you will feel like you're wearing a marshmallow cloud pillow on your head. Best of all, the 700 has the industry first cross dual wireless transmitter system. That means you can seamlessly switch between your console or your PC with just a click of a button. And it gets even better. While being connected to your console, the Stealth 700 can connect with your phone for music streaming or even taking calls at the same time. Imagine listening to some Kendrick Lamar and you're still playing some Call of Duty Black Ops 6. For a limited time, GTR listeners, this is your time to take action. For a limited time, get 10% off your entire order with promo code GTR at turtlebeach.com. Don't miss out this amazing opportunity. And go right now to turtlebeach.com and use promo code GTR to get 10% off your order. We want to thank Turtle Beach for sponsoring this episode of Gamertag Radio. And now let's continue with our review of Avowed.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
before we forget, before you bring Rihanna's comments into this, we didn't even really talk about the story.
We didn't. It is important. Hey, I don't want to bring it.
Well, no, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm going to give very high level here. Again, you're the envoy. You work for the emperor. You've been assigned to go to the living lands and investigate this dream scourge that is happening, which is essentially a plague that's going. This is why, like, if you've seen some of the preview stuff, like the bear, and he has all the stuff over him. It's because of the dream scourge, and like with people, it's driving them insane, and they're going crazy and doing weird stuff. So you're coming to investigate and figure out what you can do to solve it. Now, along the way, you meet these companions. There's different faction conflicts that you potentially have to take a side on. Stuff like that. And ultimately it's to save the living lands. It is the high level story of why you're here and what you're doing. But so much more happens while you're doing that. But that is your reason for being in the living lands and trying to figure out this mystery of this dream scourge, why it's happening and what can you do to stop it.
Yeah, it reminds, again, I bring it up Outer Worlds a lot, where there's could be moments, and there's could be lots of moments where you have to make some very crucial decisions. That was making me sweat. I don't know about you, but I was like, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea. Like it was it was very stressful, but I just love that, Parris. And I love that just us having this conversation. There's stuff that I discovered that you did, and there's stuff that you discovered that I did it. So this can be a lot of conversations like that. I bet on forums and social media, people are going to be doing that a lot, where we're like, hey, have you guys discovered this? And people are like, wait, what? No, so again, there's so many things to do. Now, this game is not open world. I see this as like it's like by zones, I believe. It's
zones. Yeah, the different regions that you'll go to.
But it still feels big. I feel like it feels bigger than the Outer Worlds for me.
So speaking of, what is it? I'm blanking on these names, and I do apologize. But the one region that you're in, not Scatterborn. What is it called? Anyways, the one region you're in where it's like the desert region, and there's the the mine. Like you'll see that one mission early on that says, hey, you need to go investigate these mines with the spiders and all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And you'll come and you'll see like this entry point to the mines. Bro, I sat there for like 30 minutes going, why can't I figure out how to get in here? Is there a secret way to get in here? I'm like, why can I not figure it out? Sure enough, if you go and again, I'm not really spoiling anything, but you'll have to go on a journey to eventually get there. And I found it completely by accident. And then I got in and I was able to do the whole thing. But that's how big these regions are, that it's not like, I know they said world-wise they're comparing this to the size of the Outer Worlds, but it doesn't feel small to me. It feels like there's a lot of room in these regions to explore and find things and all the different enemies that you'll run into. And this is why we'll say again, just because there isn't a marker on your screen telling you where to go, you will encounter different enemies and caves and secrets. Engage those things, explore those things, because you'll be surprised sometimes some of the stuff that you'll find. I will just simply say one of the best weapons that I had in the game, I found completely by accident.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, like sometimes you don't feel like walking very, very far. And
fast travel. Oh my God. Yeah.
Fast travel is very helpful. And again, Parris got distracted, but because he got distracted, he found a weapon that it helped him for his missions, So again, explore, take your time, don't rush. I think that's like the easiest thing to say for everybody to say.
I will say again, this Avowed cements Obsidian as one of the best developers in the world.
Yeah.
That's what this does. It shows you the potential of what the studio always had. It is now on display. The game is in fantastic condition at launch, because we're obviously playing it before launch and it's already good to go. I don't think anyone's going to have any crazy issues, bugs. Like I said, tiny glitch here or there, but nothing distracting or taking you out of the experience. And hell, maybe by the time it's out for everyone, there might be a day one patch to even fix those little minor glitches. Game is beautiful. Like I said, it is fun to play. Definitely encourage everyone. Treat this like a true RPG. Get nerdy with all your different combinations of weapons and abilities and how your upgrading things. Like that was the other part of it. So I talked before about, the different level of weapons that you have, right? So again, I want to make sure I get this right.
Oh,
so,
you're reading it.
Yeah. I'm just putting it on there. But like there's common weapons, right? Just your standard weapons all throughout the world that you'll find. You can buy weapons, obviously, discover them, missions, all these things, right? Then there's the next level is like fine. And then the next level beyond that is exceptional. Then there's superb. And then there's legendary, right? So you have the ability to take a common weapon, if you so choose, and upgrade it all the way up to legendary, but you got to find the resources for it, right? And as you start going up level by level, the resources become a little more scarce and harder to find. You got to go on certain missions to get them, discover them. Some you can buy from certain merchants in particular regions, things like that. But this is how nerdy it can get. It's not that, a legendary weapon, I got to go on this certain mission. That's the only way I can get it. No, you could literally take the sword that you start the game off with, and you could upgrade that thing by the end to legendary if you choose. Look, I didn't, but you could. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Some weapon, like I said, the one gun I found in Dawn Shore, I got that, and that was I can't even talk. It was fine quality. And then I wound up upgrading it to exceptional. And I was like, man, I like this gun. I'm just going to push on through. I'm keeping this gun and I'm going to do whatever I got to do to keep upgrading it along the way. And again, that wound up being my favorite thing to use by the end. But that's the point. You can get as nerdy as you want, or you could keep it as high level as you want. But the other part of this too goes into the difficulty. There's no level scaling. So take your ass to a region where you ain't supposed to be yet because you ain't high level enough. The game will let you know. The game will skill check you at that point, and you'll need to go back, either upgrade to it or whatever. So, and there's even indicators of that when you go when you look on the missions, you'll see the skulls on the mission. So like one skull means it's just a little bit above your level. Two, obviously even more. Once you see like 3 skulls and all that, that means you're in for a challenge if you go into that mission or encounter those enemies. So again, it's a nerdy ass RPG. I can't say it enough. I freaking love it. Absolutely love it. It's one of the best games I've definitely played in a while. And for sure, Obsidian has a winner on their hands. Yeah,
you know what? It's interesting you say that about the weapons. Parris, I was playing with the sword that I discovered early in the game, and I was playing it towards the end. Then I found something else, like, let me try it out. But you're right, I was upgrading my sword the whole time, and I ended up upgrading it all the way to like legendary. The same sword that I started from the beginning, because I was like, I just loved it. And that's the thing, you're gonna find weapons that you're gonna love so much that you don't feel like selling it or throwing it out or whatever. Like, you just want to keep it, so I did that the whole time, upgrading it all the way to like legendary, and I was fine with it. And I think the part I was doing was where my character's a close combat character, so I was using a lot of the sword, but I was also upgrading of gaining like special powers, like where I could bum rush someone and attack with that. I could also use my companions, like you said, about where you could hold the enemy and you also could attack them. There's like different things you could do that sometimes you will forget your weapon and you will use your power and your companion's powers. I was doing that a lot too. I was just experimenting. I think it mentioned, I think the developer mentioned that, and during an interview that we had with them, is like, everybody's gonna have so many different type of weapons and stuff, class that you're going to discover in the game, that I feel like everybody's going to have a different experience with that, man. So
100%. Really cool. 100%. One other thing to bring up about just leveling up the weapons and everything. So there's unique weapons that you'll get, and they'll be easily identifiable. There'll be like kind of like a gold seal around them. You'll know it when you're in the UI menu. Those weapons you can also enchant. So, and there's an upgrade path for those too. You have to find different resources to enchant the weapon. So when you're at your party station, that's the opportunity you can talk to your companions, and that's when you can upgrade your armor, but you can also enchant as well if you find the resources that you need. And then that adds another special ability to that unique weapon as well. So again, these are things that you don't have to do it, but if you do it, it's going to reward you in your encounters with these enemies during combat, things like that. Also at the party camp, did you do any of the totems?
Which one is that? Wait, which one is that? I think I did, but which one is that? Because I did everything from the camp.
No. So let me explain. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why. Take your time while you're playing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, slow play this. So in the different regions and stuff, you can find these like totem pieces, right? You have to find a totem stand, and then you find like these other different pieces, totem pieces in the world, and you put them all together. There's like a totem stand that you'll have in your party. Mm-hmm. And the more that you get to complete it, because I think it's like 6 of them that you'd have to get, you can get different perks that now enhance your character even more. Like, I don't know, more essence or more stamina or something like that. Right. Mm-hmm. So again, you don't have to do it, but this is something that, and there's nothing telling you where the stuff is. You have to find it on your own. The first time I found one was in the desert region. I went to this oasis. And there was like this big, look, the water's so pretty. It's pretty water. But there's this oasis. And I dove in. I was like, oh, let me see if there's something in here. Sure enough, there was a chest all the way at the bottom. I opened it up, and that's where I found the first one. I was like, oh, what is this? Turns out, I'm like, oh, wait. So then you got to find. I was like, so then that encouraged me even more to want to go around and discover and try and find stuff. The game will not hold your hand and tell you where any of this stuff is. You got to find it on your own. I love that.
You know, it's crazy. I've never discovered that.
This is what I'm saying.
I didn't know about that. Man. Oh, snap. Yeah. That's dope. Like,
yeah.
Again, everybody's gonna have different ways how they're gonna play. You know, like for me, I never discovered it, and I was fine. I finished the game. I, had a great time still. But now going to the second time, now I'm gonna take my time and hopefully I could discover where these things are at in the world, man. So all right, so right now I'm gonna play Riana's audio here of her experience playing Avowed, and once we come back, we're gonna wrap it up here. So. We'll be right back after this.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
GTR. Hey, Danny and Parris. I wanted to record my thoughts on Avowed since I can't join you all live during the show. I wanted to make sure that you all were able to at least hear me out and react to my reaction to playing this game, because it was honestly the biggest surprise so far of the year for me. I know it's still February, but honestly, this thrilled me to no end. So first off, shout out to Xbox and Obsidian for giving access to this game. It was a joy to play through, and I still haven't quite finished it yet, but I plan to, which is very rare for me if you know anything about how I play games, especially these longer single-player experiences. So first off, my loadout. I went with a shield and an axe for one of my loadouts. And then my secondary loadout, I went with a grimoire and a pistol. And this may sound a little bit all over the place, but hear me out. I went in with the intention of making a magic build. I love being a wizard. And I, of course, gravitated towards holding the grimoire because then I can have 4 spells on a quick slot. And then my other hand, I had a pistol to, pick off people at a distance if I needed to. Since I wasn't able to use a bow to do that, I gravitated towards the pistol. But then as I started playing more, I realized how much I really loved the up-close combat. And so my secondary loadout, I ended up using Unflinching Duty, which is a legendary shield that I found during exploration, which I'll have more to talk about in a second on that. And then the second thing I used was Drawn in Winter, which is yet another legendary or unique item. And that is an axe that does frost damage. So if I can play well, then I can freeze everybody around me and then bash them with my shield, which was super satisfying. So the unique item mechanic is really interesting in this game because yes, you can level up anything you find in your loadout. However, the unique items can be charmed as well. And I really love how rewarding it is to find a unique item, because almost everyone that I came across, I found just randomly exploring. So there are a couple of areas that I went to pretty early in the game, in the first island you come across, which is the town of outside the town of Paradise. And so I, of course, did the first mission, getting out of the Clavager's Landing and up into the overgrown frontier. But then from there, I kind of just started lollygagging. I went up to the Rise. I unlocked one of the memories that gave me a permanent godlike power upgrade. I went down over to the Southern Embrace and fought a bunch of spiders in a cave, which was probably not smart because they were clearly overleveled for me, and I did not have enough upgrade materials, so it was definitely a few deaths, a few restarts, but a lot of strategy, and I finally, powered my way through it. But then I went all the way down to Castle's Folly, which is kind of like another island on the southern coast of Dawnshore, and I found basically an entire island of pirates that, had made some kind of deal with somebody, and that drove me back to the Southern Embrace to figure out what the pirates stole and to either return it or keep it and challenge the collector for whatever they had. I went into this skill tree entirely intending to give them what they wanted and to, make friends with the collector, because I was, trying to deal on the side because it's that kind of game. But I don't know what I said to piss them off, and they all just started attacking me, and then there was this giant bear. Honestly, it's just kind of in a nutshell, how fun and surprising and unexpected this game was for me, because here I was thinking I was exploring and maybe doing a little lollygagging in order to collect unique weapons and armor. But then I ended up in this random side quest that yielded many, many fights, several that I lost and had to try again. And yes, I did turn the difficulty down. But it was so much fun and so rewarding. And by the time I got back to my camp after this huge diversion, I had tons of upgrade materials. I had a almost fully assembled totem that gave me sort of permanent passive effects for the whole party. I had a bunch of stuff that I could use at the enchanting station on my unique weapons. And then it took me hours and hours and hours to finally figure out how to cook at the party camp. So I really just love how much there is to this game, and how, kind of wandering off into the woods is rewarded so well. And the moment to moment gameplay never felt boring. It didn't ever feel like I was backtracking or, doing any sort of boring fetch quest or stealth missions that frustrated me. It was all fun. And that's really hard to do with me as a player, because I'm so used to really fast action and multiplayer games to keep my attention. And this managed to do it with just a wonderful environment, beautiful, beautiful scenery, really funny dialogue, and like I said, unexpected consequences to the choices that I made. And, I had kind of maybe a Jeff Goldblum meta character type vibe, where I've sort of, I assume that I'm all powerful, and so I'm a little lackadaisical and unfazed by whatever's going on around me. But there are a few moments that really pulled me back down to earth, and I really, really liked that about the story and the other characters that you meet in this world, and how sometimes there's really no right or wrong choice. In some instances, I chose to trust people, and it ended up paying off. In other instances, I tried to do the right thing, and it ended up biting me in the ass. So I thought it was a really good balance, and I enjoyed that part of the game as well. So overall, I would say I really, really loved Avowed, and the time that I spent with it, even though I need to spend much more and unlock more of the story. I like how many different things there are to engage with in this game, and they're all really intriguing and interesting. And yeah, I just can't wait to play more. So thank you.
This is Gamertag Radio.
All
right, Parris, man. Woo, look at that. Almost 50. Well, actually, for us, it was almost 50, but Rihanna is going to probably like 50 plus minutes. Almost an hour, man. Just talking about Avowed. Again, we haven't had a conversation like this for a game this long in a while.
No, we have not. We have not.
Good.
Now, I want to put a score on this.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it was funny. I did a hype cast with Greg a couple weeks ago. And, we're just talking. And at the end, we're like, oh, what do we think is going to score? And my immediate thought was like, I could see this being like an 85. That's what I said. 85. Mm-hmm. I was wrong. I was so wrong.
I was so wrong. Way higher than that.
This is a 9.5. 9.5.
I have to agree.
Ding. There's some minor little dings that you could do, but overall, this is a me kind of game, and I think that definitely plays into it. I love these nerdy RPG kind of games. This scratches that itch for me. I'm putting this at a 9.5.
9.5 for me. It probably be even higher for me because I never experienced anything technical stuff at all, but just the experience and the story and like just everything overall, I'll probably put it a little bit higher than that too, man. Like almost a 10. Almost a 10.
No, yeah. Obsidian did their thing here. This is a must play. This is a must play game. We're going to be talking about this game a lot over the weeks and months. Absolutely. This, again, it's Oblivion 2.0 for me, man. I have the same feeling that I had back in 06 playing Oblivion. Now, are they the same exact game? Of course not. But it's just that feeling of going in an RPG that I can play the way I want to play. And the game isn't forcing me to play the way it's saying I should have to play it. And then there's so many layers underneath that if you take the time to explore those and discover those, you'll feel rewarded for it. I loved it. Thought it was great.
Yeah, it was really, really fun, man. And people, this is a must have. You definitely have to check this game out. It's a lot of fun. We're going to be talking about this game for years to come, man. And hopefully we get to see more from Obsidian. Actually, later this year is going to be the Outer Worlds 2.
I'm telling you, Obsidian is the GOAT. They literally got Outer Worlds 2 coming out this year. How are you going to give me 2 RPGs the same year? That's crazy.
I have never seen that.
Yeah.
I have never seen that from a studio. Like, that's crazy.
I'll say this, though. I'll say this one last thing.
Yeah.
And this is kudos to Xbox on this. I'm glad they delayed it to February. Because I do think, in a weird way, if it came out in November around Call of Duty and all these things, not that it would have got lost in the shuffle, but I feel like it's coming out at a time where it gets to stand on its own and shine. And kudos to them saying, hey, we want to make sure that this game gets all the shine, the love and support that it deserves, because they obviously knew they were sitting on something. And it's funny going back thinking when I went to Obsidian in November and I got to talk to Carrie and the whole team and just, the individual interviews and stuff that I did and just even the offline conversations, how proud they were of the work that they did. They knew what they had. And again, this whole 60 frame stuff sounds like the extra time allowed them extra time it is 60 frames at launch. There is a quality mode at 40 frames at launch from a technical standpoint, but they were cooking. They knew they were cooking and they knew they had something big. And I think people are going to be very happy with this game.
Yeah.
Very happy. So props to Obsidian. I love it. I thought they did a fantastic job.
Yes, for those that get the game, let us know. Hit us up. I'm very curious to hear about your class, your companions, your experience overall. Like, I'm just very curious. And maybe things that you discover in the game that we didn't discover. Please let us know, because there's so many things to do in this game, man. So, a lot of fun. Shout out to Obsidian. Also, thanks to Xbox for giving us the opportunity to review this game early. I can't wait to play this once again. I'm going to play it a second time. And totally different than my first one. So, everyone, thank you for listening here. Gamertag Radio. Until next time, we're out. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.